What you do in the first 60 minutes after waking up can either stabilize your blood sugar or quietly push it out of control for the rest of the day. Most people with type 2 diabetes focus only on what they eat, but very few realize that morning hormones play a massive role in glucose regulation. When you wake up, your body releases cortisol and other hormones to help you start the day. This natural process, often called the dawn phenomenon, can already raise blood sugar before you even eat. Now imagine adding dehydration, high-carb breakfast choices, stress, caffeine overload, or inactivity on top of that. That's how many people unknowingly start their day with unstable glucose levels, leading to fatigue, cravings, irritability, and mid-morning crashes. But here's the good news: your morning routine can become your strongest weapon against insulin resistance. In today's video, I'll walk you through 5 powerful morning habits that can improve insulin sensitivity, reduce glucose spikes, increase energy levels, support long-term diabetes control, and make the rest of your day easier to manage. These habits are simple. They don't require expensive supplements. They don't require extreme diets. They require consistency, and when practiced daily, they can create measurable improvements in fasting glucose and overall stability. Stay with me until the end, because the 5th habit might be the most overlooked, yet one of the most powerful for long-term control. Let's begin with the first morning habit. 1. Hydrate immediately after waking up, before coffee, before breakfast, before checking your phone. Drink water. This may sound overly simple, but physiologically, it makes a significant difference, especially for people with diabetes. During the night, your body continues to lose fluids through breathing and perspiration. You wake up in a mildly dehydrated state. Even small levels of dehydration can increase blood glucose concentration because there is less plasma volume to dilute circulating sugar. When glucose becomes more concentrated in the bloodstream, readings may appear higher even if total glucose hasn't dramatically increased. Hydration supports multiple metabolic processes. It helps maintain proper blood volume. It supports kidney filtration. It assists in flushing excess glucose through urine when levels are elevated. It reduces strain on the cardiovascular system. For individuals with diabetes, kidney health is critical. Chronic hyperglycemia already places stress on renal function. Starting the day hydrated supports better filtration efficiency and metabolic balance. There's another important factor: cortisol. In the early morning, cortisol naturally rises. Cortisol increases glucose availability as part of the wake-up process. If you're dehydrated, this glucose surge may feel more pronounced. Drinking 1 to 2 glasses of water upon waking helps improve circulation, support metabolic stability, reduce perceived fatigue, decrease unnecessary hunger signals. Many people mistake dehydration for hunger, leading to unnecessary carbohydrate intake early in the day. Now let's address something practical. If plain water feels unappealing, you can add a slice of lemon or cucumber, but avoid sweeteners or fruit juices first thing in the morning. The goal is hydration without triggering an insulin response. This single habit sets the tone for the next metabolic decisions of your day. It stabilizes the internal environment before you introduce food or caffeine. Small action, large physiological impact. And now let's move to the second morning habit, one that directly influences glucose patterns for the rest of the day. 2. Start your day with a protein and fiber-rich breakfast. What you eat first matters more than most people realize. In the morning, your body is naturally more insulin resistant compared to later in the day. Cortisol is elevated. Growth hormone activity has occurred overnight. Glucose regulation is more sensitive during these early hours. This means that a high-carbohydrate breakfast, especially refined carbs, can trigger a stronger glucose spike than the same meal eaten later. Many common breakfast foods are metabolic traps: sugary cereals, white toast with jam, pastries, fruit juice, flavored yogurts. They digest quickly. Blood sugar rises rapidly. Insulin surges to compensate. Then a few hours later, energy crashes and hunger returns. Instead, build your breakfast around protein and fiber. Protein slows gastric emptying, meaning carbohydrates enter the bloodstream more gradually. It also improves satiety, reducing mid-morning cravings. Fiber plays an equally critical role. Soluble fiber forms a gel-like substance in the digestive tract, slowing glucose absorption and reducing post-meal spikes. Examples of strategic breakfasts: eggs with vegetables and avocado, Greek yogurt with berries and chia seeds, a vegetable omelet with a side of nuts, oatmeal portion controlled paired with protein and healthy fats. Notice something important: this is not about eliminating carbohydrates completely. It's about changing the structure of the meal. When protein and fiber come first, blood sugar response improves not only for breakfast, but often for lunch as well. This phenomenon is sometimes called the second meal effect. Stable mornings lead to stable afternoons, and stable afternoons reduce evening cravings. One intelligent breakfast can influence your entire day's glucose pattern. That's how powerful this habit is. Now let's move to the third morning habit, something millions of people rely on daily, but few understand its full metabolic impact. Keep caffeine in check. For many people, the morning does not begin without coffee, and there's nothing inherently wrong with enjoying caffeine. In fact, moderate coffee consumption has been associated in some studies with long-term metabolic benefits. But here's the nuance that matters for people with diabetes. Caffeine is a stimulant, and stimulants influence blood sugar. When you consume caffeine, it stimulates the release of stress hormones, particularly adrenaline, epinephrine, and cortisol. These hormones signal the liver to release stored glucose into the bloodstream as part of a ready-for-action response. For someone without insulin resistance, this effect may be small, but for individuals with type 2 diabetes or impaired insulin sensitivity, this temporary glucose release can cause noticeable blood sugar elevations. Some studies suggest that consuming more than about 200-250 milligrams of caffeine, roughly 2 to 3 cups of coffee, may increase blood sugar levels in certain individuals, but it's not just the amount, it's the timing and context. Drinking coffee on an empty stomach can amplify the cortisol response. Remember, cortisol is already elevated in the early morning hours. Adding caffeine immediately upon waking may stack hormonal effects. Cortisol rises, adrenaline rises, glucose rises. Instead, consider these adjustments. Drink water first, eat a protein-rich breakfast, then consume coffee. Pairing caffeine with protein and fiber can blunt its glycemic impact. Another important factor, what's in the coffee? Flavored syrup, sweetened creamers, and sugar can turn a simple cup of coffee into a glucose spike disguised as a beverage. If you enjoy coffee, keep it simple. Minimal added sugars, moderate quantity, and monitor your own response. If you wear a continuous glucose monitor, observe how caffeine affects you personally. Responses vary. This habit is not about eliminating coffee. It's about consuming it intelligently, without unknowingly pushing blood sugar higher before your day even begins. Now let's move to the fourth morning habit, one that may be the fastest way to reduce circulating glucose naturally. 4. Move your body within the first hour of waking. If there were a natural glucose-lowering tool available to everyone, free, accessible, and powerful, it would be movement. Physical activity is one of the most effective ways to reduce circulating blood sugar because it works independently of insulin. Here's what that means. When you contract your muscles, they require energy. That energy often comes from glucose circulating in your bloodstream, and during movement, muscle cells can absorb glucose without relying entirely on insulin signaling. This is crucial for people with insulin resistance. Even if insulin sensitivity is reduced, muscle contraction creates an alternative pathway for glucose uptake. In simple terms, movement pulls sugar out of the blood and into the muscles. That's powerful. Morning movement is especially beneficial because it counteracts the natural early rise in glucose caused by the dawn phenomenon, the hormonal surge that prepares your body to wake up. You don't need an intense workout. Moderate activity is effective. Examples include a brisk 15 to 30-minute walk, light resistance training, bodyweight exercises, gentle yoga, mobility stretching. Even short sessions improve glucose utilization and enhance insulin sensitivity for hours afterward. Research consistently shows that moderate intensity exercise reduces post-meal glucose spikes and improves long-term glycemic control. There's another benefit often overlooked. Morning movement improves mood and mental clarity. When energy is stable, decision-making improves. Better decisions lead to healthier food choices later in the day. It creates a cascade effect. And for individuals managing diabetes, consistency matters more than intensity. 30 minutes daily beats one intense session per week. Before exercising, especially if you use insulin or certain medications, it's wise to check your blood sugar levels. Very high or very low readings may require adjustment before starting activity. Movement doesn't just lower blood sugar, it strengthens your cardiovascular system, it improves circulation, it reduces inflammation, it enhances sleep quality, and it builds metabolic resilience over time. Now let's move to the fifth and final morning habit, one that many people overlook, yet it directly impacts your blood sugar the following day. Finish dinner earlier the night before. Here's something many people don't connect. Your morning blood sugar is heavily influenced by what and when you ate the night before. If you regularly eat late dinners, especially heavy carbohydrate-rich meals close to bedtime, your body has less time to process and stabilize glucose before sleep. During the night, your metabolism slows, insulin sensitivity decreases in the evening hours. That means your body handles glucose less efficiently at night compared to earlier in the day. So when dinner happens at 9:30 or 10 p.m. and bedtime follows shortly after, glucose may remain elevated longer into the night. This contributes to our higher fasting glucose in the morning, stronger dawn phenomenon spikes, increased overnight insulin demand, poorer sleep quality, Research suggests that allowing a gap of at least 2 to 3 hours between your last meal and bedtime gives your body time to lower post-meal glucose before sleep. This supports better fasting blood sugar levels the next morning. There's also a circadian rhythm component. Your internal clock regulates metabolism. When meals are aligned earlier in the evening, glucose tolerance tends to improve compared to late-night eating. Another practical benefit: earlier dinners reduce the likelihood of late-night snacking, which is often high in refined carbohydrates. Even small nighttime snacks can elevate morning readings. Imagine the difference: dinner at 6:30 am, light evening activity, hydration, sleep, versus dinner at 9:30 am, dessert, minimal movement, sleep. The next morning's glucose readings will likely reflect that difference. This habit doesn't require changing what you eat overnight, just when. Small timing adjustments can produce noticeable improvements in fasting numbers. And for many people struggling with stubborn morning highs, this single change becomes a breakthrough. Now let's bring everything together and close this out properly. Managing diabetes does not begin at lunchtime. It begins the moment you wake up. Your morning habits create a metabolic chain reaction that influences your blood sugar for the rest of the day. Small choices compound. Hydration stabilizes circulation. A protein-rich breakfast moderates glucose absorption. Controlled caffeine prevents unnecessary hormonal spikes. Movement pulls sugar directly into muscles. And finishing dinner earlier sets up a healthier fasting level the next morning. None of these habits are extreme. None require expensive supplements. None demand perfection. But together, they create metabolic momentum. And momentum is powerful. When mornings become structured and intentional, blood sugar becomes more predictable. Energy improves. Cravings decrease. Mental clarity increases. And managing diabetes begins to feel less reactive and more proactive. Consistency matters more than intensity. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Start with one habit, master it, then layer in the next. Over time, these simple practices can reduce glucose variability, improve insulin sensitivity, and support long-term health. If this video helped you rethink your mornings, make sure you subscribe for more practical, evidence-based strategies for managing type 2 diabetes and improving metabolic health. Your mornings shape your metabolism. Choose them wisely.